What a February. What a year so far in real estate, really. But wow, a lot going on right now. We just had the Super Bowl, and this weekend we have Valentine's Day, followed one after another by President's Day, Mardi Gras, and Ash Wednesday. President's Day is the 15th, and county recorders' offices will be closed, as will most, if not all, title and escrow companies, including WFG Title. Some counties will also be closed on Friday the 12th in observance of Lincoln's birthday. These are also important dates because any transfer recorded after this weekend will be subject to Proposition 19. The actual cutoff date for a transfer being effective is actually February 15th, President's Day, even though technically the effective date is April 1st. There are quite a few important changes coming with Prop 19 officially on the books, so I thought I'd jump right in and cover some basic pointers regarding the new rules. It's important for me to disclaim that I am not an attorney, nor am I qualified to give any form of legal advice, so this shouldn't be considered legal advice, or legal analysis, or anything of that sort. My goal here is just to share with other industry professionals to get a basic understanding of the new challenges and opportunities that your clients might be faced with this year. To find out how these changes affect you in particular, consult the appropriate legal and or tax professional, and do not rely on what I have to tell you here to be all the relevant information that you would need to make an informed decision. We have three sections to cover here. The drastic, stark really changes to the parent-to-child exemption from property tax reassessment, the new and more generous rules surrounding tax-based portability, and finally, some tips for reaching the right prospective clients to educate on their new opportunities via farming systems and techniques. Let's get to it. Up until now, we've been used to transfers between parents and their children, and transfers between grandparents and grandchildren, by and large, being exempt from reassessment. There have been limitations, of course, but more often than not, people inheriting family homes have not had to worry too much about the property tax base being reassessed at current market value. Transfers from parent to child, whether upon death or as an inter vivos gift, which is a fancy way of saying a gift where nobody is dying, which is nice, have been exempt from reassessment for up to $1 million of value per property. Further, in cases of the parent's principal residence being transferred, that compound value has been waived. The entire property so far has been eligible for that exemption. One of the effects, however, of Proposition 19 is to make it more difficult for heirs to keep family properties in the family upon inheritance. Most of the exemptions for reassessment in these intra-family transfers are being stripped away. Starting next week, that will be the week of February 15th, 2021, a transfer of a parent's principal residence to their child, when the home will continue on as that child's principal residence, will be exempt from reassessment only as to the first $1 million of fair market value. Other transfers, such as investment properties, will not be eligible at all anymore for the exception from reassessment. Just as before, eligible reassessments will still have to be claimed by filing the appropriate forms with the assessor of the county where the property lies. Different counties can differ slightly in this procedure, but it's not automatic. In discussing this new rule in the field, I've often been asked about different strategies for trying to reduce or avoid the increased property taxes in these transfers, and I'll have to answer that here as I do in the field. Anyone who has California real estate as a part of their estate plan should consult with their estate planning professionals to determine their best course of action in light of Proposition 19. It would just be inappropriate and even a disservice to you for me to try to suggest any direct plans of action myself. I will tell you from my conversations in the field, and this probably won't surprise you, this aspect of Proposition 19 is definitely the least popular one. The next segment will cover the changes to property tax-based portability, which are considerably more generous. For many years now in California, we've had a few mechanisms in place to help long-term homeowners retain their low Prop 13 tax base when changing their primary residence. We know these laws mainly as Propositions 60, 90, and 110. Basically, a homeowner who is 55 or older or permanently and severely disabled can sell their primary residence and purchase a replacement residence of, with a few exceptions, equal or lesser value while keeping their Prop 13 tax base. This is available up until now only once. It's a very attractive option, naturally, for people who have lived many years in their home and have a tax base much lower than their home's current market value. Well, unlike what we've already covered, which narrowed a reassessment exemption, property tax-based portability is actually being expanded, which is pretty good news for a lot of homeowners. Big change number one. Property tax-based transfers will now be available to victims of a wildfire or other natural disasters, in addition to seniors, 55 plus, and to permanently and severely disabled persons. Another significant change, these transfers can now happen to and from anywhere in California. Proposition 60 only allowed for transfers within the same county, and Prop 90 expanded it to a list of counties who opted to participate, which did include most Southern California counties. But now those geographic restrictions are gone. The only requirement concerning the location of the properties is that both must, of course, lie in the state of California. Third, here's a really big one. The transfer of property tax base is now available up to 3 times in a person's life, no longer just one. Personally, I'm expecting that this will lead to many more people taking advantage of the transfer earlier on in their eligibility. 55 just seems like way too young to make your last ever move. So making the benefit available 3 times really relieves a lot of that pressure. Also, people in your farms or sphere of influence who may have already used the benefit get not just one, but 2 more bites at the apple, as it were. The last change I have to tell you about is really interesting. The property tax-based transfer can now be used to cover part of the value of a more expensive replacement property. So under existing laws, you would actually lose the benefit entirely if you didn't keep the value of the replacement property under some precisely defined limits. Those are 100% of the original property's value if purchasing before selling, 105% during the first year after selling, and 110% during the second year. This means someone selling a $500,000 property and moving to a $600,000 home would not be able to move their tax base to the new property at all. Under Proposition 19, the existing tax base in that example would cover the first $500,000 of value, the value of the original property being sold. The additional $100,000 would then be tacked on. So tax liability does increase when moving to a more valuable property, but it is still kept lower than a full reassessment at fair market value. Other restrictions and limitations still do apply, so when considering a move with a tax-based transfer, not to sound like a broken record, consult a tax professional to make sure that you're taking advantage of all the best options available to you. With especially the changes to tax-based portability, there could be plenty of new listing and purchase opportunities. Getting the right message in front of the right people in your farm can really make a big difference. So here are 2 ways to find people in your farm to talk to about the new tax-based portability rules. First, let's address people who may be eligible for the benefit who have not yet moved. It's very possible that they haven't given much consideration to using Prop 60 because it's too early in life for a one-time move. Maybe they value their tax base but need a more expensive home instead of downsizing. So educating them about the expansion of the benefit could just get someone off the fence and get some much-needed inventory into our market. As you may know, title companies cannot provide you with farm lists filtered by homeowner age, but age isn't necessarily what we need to be the most concerned with. The benefit is most appealing to people with a very low, long-established tax base. People who have owned their home for 30 years or more are somewhat likely to qualify on age and almost certain to have an extremely low property tax base. Your favorite title company, and any title company really, can get you a list of homeowners filtered by time of ownership, as can your Title Toolbox or Title Pro 24/7 portals. So just order up a list of 30+ year owners, or whatever time frame you choose. If you want to go up to 35 or down to 25, don't forget to also add a filter for owner occupancy, because tax-based transfers are for primary residences only. This will really only concern owner occupants. The second group that will be most interested in these changes consists of people who have already used the benefit when it was a one-time thing. Now it will be available up to 2 more times, and if they're in your farm, you definitely want to be the agent who lets them know. They are a little trickier to find, but luckily you're talking to a data wizard here. What we need to do with this group is get a CSV farm database of all owner occupants in your farm area. We can't do all the filtering we need before the farm is actually ordered and delivered. We'll need to work our magic on the completed file. Once you have the farm, look for the column showing the most recent sale price and the column showing the current property tax base, the assessed value. Build a formula to subtract the sale price from the assessed value and extract the records that have a negative results there. These are the folks with a lower tax base than their purchase price, and while not 100%, most will likely be people who have already taken advantage of a tax-based transfer when purchasing their current home. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, get in touch, book a meeting, let me know how I can help. Can't wait to see you next time.